I've always felt really connected to my Native American history, culture. And I'm a mixed blood, and I have lots of other cultures too, but that always just really felt right to me. You know, I've followed my Native traditions and ways for many, many years. And I just really connected with that and with the art stuff. It just, it just felt right. And so that's just where I've gone. Pipes that our Native American people use for saying our prayers. They are very important to our tribal culture. Many, many tribes use pipes to say their prayers, kind of like Christians use a rosary or they refer to their Bibles. You know, tribal people, they use their pipes as that focal point to help them with their prayers. Pipes can also be artistic. You know, there were pipes back in the time of the mountains building people that were really, really, really elaborate and extravagant and just really beautiful. And so I like to do some of the, simpler stuff, and I like to do some of the fancier, more elaborate stuff and both keep with traditions. I like the effigy pipes. I really like doing different angles with, instead of just a straight angle, I like the curve, doing some curves with the bottoms of my pipes. I like putting animals on it, or flowers, or other things that are significant to whoever is going to use that pipe. For our tribal people, we have different things that we identify with, that we are looking to learn from, to get strength from. And a lot of those times, those things, we get those in dreams or visions, or sometimes maybe they're part of your name or something else that you were given by your grandmothers or your auntie. And so you include that as part of your pipe that you would use in your prayers. So that makes it really personal. When I'm going to carve a pipe, one of the first things I do is I look at the stone. The stone, I think the stone talks to you. I mean, you look at the stone, you spend some time with the stone, you know what the stone wants to be. It may sound kind of silly, but as an artist, I guess I have a right to be a little silly. But the stone tells me, I can see in that piece of stone if that's, be a bear pipe or a buffalo pipe. And if it feels like the right thing, and I take that piece of stone and I'll sketch on the stone and try to find, an idea of what I think I want to do, and then I cut it out, cut out the basic shape. Once you got the basic shape, you start carving it. Well, I was taught that the stem of the pipe is really the most personal part of the pipe. And although a lot of the bowls were made and they were passed on generation after generation, my husband has his grandpa's pipe. It's been around for like 6 or 7 generations. But the stem, when they made the stem, they put all their personal medicine, colors, and prayers on that pipe stem. And when someone was to pass away, the stem gets buried with the owner. I do some beadwork. Most of my beadwork I do for personal stuff, for our regalia, for my husband's regalia. And then I make my daughter and mine's regalia, jingle dresses, fancy shawl dresses. Years ago I made some grass dance and some traditional outfits because my boys were little then. So I made their outfits. And I like to do lots of different kinds of art. The beadwork I do for sale, I put some beadwork occasionally on stems when requested to do so. I'll put a little beadwork on bags for pipes, sometimes for medicine bags. And I do a lot of other art. I like to decorate cakes. I like to draw, paint. As an artist, I like to just experiment with lots of things. I've made baskets and lots of other things. I think it gives me a better appreciation of other art as well. My husband carves pipes, and he's been doing it almost as long as I have. He didn't come around Pipestone until he was a little older, so he didn't start when he was a teenager. But he's kind of a pipe mechanic. He doesn't get into real fine or intricate stuff. He just makes the simpler stuff. And sometimes we'll work on things together. We've made some hatchet pipes together, and we make some turtle disc pipes together. He does these wedding pipes that are made like a turtle. And those a lot of times we'll work together on those. He'll start them, and then I'll do some of the detail work on them. It works really well together. They don't have to spend so much time sawing something out. He does some of the mechanical work, and then I work on some of the finished work. So we kind of work together. It's kind of fun. I really find Pipestone to be a really special place for our tribal people. When I was younger, I went to junior high and high school here, Pipestone. And then I moved away because, I wanted to see the world, and I didn't want to stay in a small town anymore. And I lived out in Oregon, and I lived in Washington, lived in Alaska, and moved around. And I found my way back to Pipestone, and I was having some real trials and tribulations, and trying to figure out where I was going in my life and what decisions to make. And being right there at Pipestone, I would go down to the monument to the quarries, and I would take some time and say some prayers. And it really helped me find my direction. It really helped me focus on the things that were important in my life and the things that I needed to do. And it's brought me to where I am today. I do my art, and I like teaching. I was a preschool teacher for years, and I love working with little kids. And now I go in and do presentations, and we do art projects together, and I really enjoy my job. And what more can you ask for?
This program on Pioneer Public Television is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008. Additional support provided by Mark and Margaret Yakel-Julien in honor of Shalom Hill Farm, a nonprofit rural education retreat center in a beautiful prairie setting near Windham in southwestern Minnesota. ShalomHillFarm.org. The Arrowwood Resort and Conference Center, your ideal choice for Minnesota resorts, offering luxury townhomes, 18 holes of golf, Darling Reflections Spa, Big Splash Water Park, and much more. Alexandria, Minnesota. Explore hundreds of lakes, trails, and attractions for a great vacation or a place to hold an event. ExploreAlex.com. Tri-State Brain and Spine Institute, with locations in Alexandria, Edina, Crookston, and Maple Grove. Doctors dedicated to evaluating and treating all types of brain and spine problems, no matter how complex.